You are listening to Veterans Action Report on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. I'm your host, Nick, coming to you live from St. Paul, Minnesota.
And I'm Andrew Canales, coming to you live from Evergreen, Colorado.
Every day, veterans are struggling with many issues spanning from homelessness to mental health crisis, often leading to 22 veterans a day taking their own lives. There are veterans all around the U.S. leading the fight to help guide our brothers and sisters to a better life. We will bring you stories from all around the country telling tales of veteran struggles and triumph. Every episode benefits veteran-run nonprofits Warriors Next Adventure, helping veterans fight PTSD through recreational therapy and new adventures. And Houses for Warriors, helping solve the homeless crisis, leading veterans to a better lifestyle. Oh, hi there. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Veterans Action Report. I'm here with Josh today. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, man?
How are you?
Chilling.
Thank you for always being there for me when I need a guest.
Anytime, man.
Josh comes here all the time. We just sit and bullshit, so it's always nice to have him on. All right, let's do this. Warriors Next Adventure is one of the nonprofits that benefits from this this podcast here. I lost my words for a second. Myself and Andrew, man, I'm not right today.
You got it, man.
I'm frustrated, man. Frustrated. All right, you guys will know why soon. So Warriors Next Adventure is one of the nonprofits that benefits from the show. Veterans Action Report was started by myself, and I have a co-host that occasionally comes on. His name is Andrew Canales. He runs Houses for Warriors over in Colorado. Houses for Warriors helps veterans with suicide prevent. I'm sorry, that's me. Man, like I said,
you got it, man.
I'm just all over the place today, man. This never happens.
Okay.
I'm so mad. Anyway, Veterans Action Report was started between us two, and we're here essentially trying to do our best to promote veterans, entrepreneurs, athletes, all kinds of stuff. And so every show benefits Warriors Next Adventure, which is my nonprofit, and House for Warriors, which is Andrew's nonprofit. Andrew helps with homelessness over in Colorado. They got they call it the Warrior Home. It's pretty sweet, actually. I've been there like twice now, and I think they got 3 or 4 veterans that stay there. They don't pay a dime to stay there, right? HUD-VASH, if you guys don't know what HUD-VASH is, they help all veterans with housing. HUD-VASH has some issues with that place, which is absolutely bonkers, if you ask me. They don't like the fact that Andrew has a sober rule, and apparently you're not allowed to have any rules, which I think is obnoxious. So HUD-VASH, let's get that fixed. Warriors Next Adventure, we help vets with PTSD, suicide prevention, and we get veterans together, start camaraderie, and like Josh, that's how we met. Pretty much what we're doing is just trying to help veterans find that next level in life, right? Trying to push you through that open door, right? You essentially have to take the steps. We're going to open up as many doors as we can. Hopefully you find a door that fits for you. But yeah, so we got a lot to talk about today, bro.
Yeah, we do.
So,
how do you even start?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. We're going to talk a little bit about,
I can just feel it.
I know. We're going to talk a little bit about accountability, right?
Okay.
Accountability and shame. Those are two things that usually go hand in hand. Now I've been running down the shame railroad the last couple weeks, right? We've talked a little bit about it.
It's crazy because I've been doing it on my own without even knowing.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not talking shame for myself, but like, how is shame thrown into the veteran community?
Yeah.
Right. How does it hurt us? How does it, kind of get in our own way? And how does it actually get us to the point where how can we release that? Right.
Yeah.
And it's by accountability.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a veteran not too long ago. Now, again, I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to give too much details because I don't talk about what I talk about with veterans because it's private. However, I was talking to a vet and he was talking about, I called him out on something. And one thing that I do with WNA, and if anybody has talked to me with WNA, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. And it's because I've likely been through it. If I haven't been through it, I've helped another veteran through it. And I have a lot of good examples as to why my suggestion is going to help. I'm not always right. I don't always have all the answers. My way is not the way. It's just my way. So if you come to me and I'm going to give you my way, take my way, take a little bit from it, take a piece here and there, and then make your own way. That's what you're supposed to do in life. You look at this. Somebody once told me, why start a nonprofit that is already such a saturated area, right?
Yeah.
With WNA. And I'm like, okay, so should I just pull all of my services?
Yeah.
Just because there's other nonprofits that are similar?
Yeah.
No, because I've taken what I've learned and I created my own way. And the big way I've done that is by, taking accountability for all of the things that I've done and actually freed myself from the shame that came from some of the things that I've experienced, or put myself through, because in the long run, almost everything happens in life because of some of your choices.
Yep.
I don't care what anybody says.
I think probably like 95% is you.
There's always going to be certain people that do things to you that you couldn't have stopped. However, there's
You're
always a
still in
choice
that
of the
equation.
situation, right? And they say, well, I had to be there because I was in the military and I went to Iraq. Who signed the papers? You did,
It's a
right?
decision.
When you live life by absolute accountability, nobody has anything on you.
Nope.
Nobody can call you out on anything. Be like, yeah, I did that.
It's true.
It sucks. I wish I didn't
Now
do that,
what?
but I did that.
Yeah.
And the problem that I see is so many people have such a buildup of shame. They don't want to, not you.
No, I agree. I do.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm working on it.
But no, the thing that I want people to understand is you can have accountability without shame, right? There's always going to be shame in the beginning. That's normal. If you're going through some sort of mental health crisis, in order to free yourself from everything, you're going to experience some shame. You're
You have
going
to face it.
Yeah,
You
100%.
have to see it.
And if you just keep pushing that shame down, eventually what starts happening is we create ulterior
Or
definitions or ulterior
Yeah.
pasts.
like the reframing
Mhm.
thing that we were just talking about. Yep.
Reframing is good, but reframing can also be, a lie,
Yeah.
essentially. And when somebody takes the amount of shame that they have and they try to adjust or not elaborate, what's what I'm looking for? When you say more than what you really did.
See, now I'm stuck too. I
Dang
don't know.
it. What's that word starts with E? Somebody listening, help me out. I'm not smart. When you
Words are my thing too.
dang
Sorry.
it. Why is this bothering me? I'm so off today, man. But anyway, so like when you take it and you expand it more than what it actually was. So like kind of in our dreams, right? There's a lot of embellish. There you go.
Jesus.
Fuck, thank you. So there's a lot of times like in our dreams, here we go. This is actually really smart.
dream?
Jason. I'm having Jason on the podcast here in a couple weeks. After the shame becomes light, after the light becomes knowledge and accountability. It's absolutely true. Because when you really stop, I probably read that wrong. I'm sorry. Like I said, it's been all coffee today too, so that probably didn't help. I'm wired. And speaking of, it's because I've been drinking Rising Warrior salted caramel, right? Go check it out, guys. We got our own stuff. This is yours, buddy.
Hell yeah.
I got that
Thanks,
for you.
man.
All the ambassadors got a coffee. You're the first one to actually get it though, because
All
you're
right.
here.
Yeah, I'm here.
We have a couple I got to ship out soon, so I got a bunch of boxes back there I got to send out. Bunch more merch. Oh, you can see all the boxes. June 24th, you're coming down to Omaha with us, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So it's me, you, Will Jansen, who's rolling with me, but he's also one of the board members, and Mara. We're all driving down, and bro, it's the College World Series right now.
Okay.
I can't find a place for us to stay.
We're
all gonna have to cuddle in my truck.
I feel like that's a good thing though, right?
Yeah,
because there's going to be a lot of people.
Okay, yeah. If you look at it on the bright side, yes, that's going to be really good.
How do I not?
The hard thing is like I don't know where we're going to sleep, dude. I got a tent.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, cool.
I'm down.
I don't know if I'm down because it's
Asking
supposed to be
me
like 90s.
Where I'm gonna I haven't slept on rocks and shit.
I know, right? That's a good thing about being in the military is like our quality of life, like requirements are pretty low.
Yeah.
But one thing I've realized when I travel with WNA, I'm always looking for like the cheapest hotel rooms because I don't want to spend a lot of money because we're nonprofit, right?
Definitely.
But on that tour, when I was driving around in the bus, we stayed in some shady spots, dude.
Yeah.
It's eventually got to the point where like I am not staying in a roach motel anymore.
We got to pull guard and stuff.
Dude, there was a scream right next door, and I'm pretty sure there was a domestic assault going on right next door.
Oh yeah.
Like I walked out, I'm like, should I knock on that door? I'm like, you know what?
I'd rather sleep.
I'm gonna back off this one. So I called the front desk. Like, I'm pretty sure someone's beating their wife next door. Can you guys go check on that? Yeah.
And they didn't.
And then gunshots. No, I'm kidding. No, it wasn't gunshots. Anyways, back to Squirrel. So again, this is also one of Josh's things that he does with WNAs. He reels me in when I go too far.
You did it on your own this time.
I did because I noticed you looking at me like, dude, get your shit together. So shame can essentially manifest based off of, certain things that happen in your life that didn't go the way you wanted them to, or you didn't,
I'm big on the story thing. So you're trying to make sense of your story
yeah,
based on who you think you are.
elaborate on that.
So when we were on the way here, I was thinking about the way that shame plays a role in your narrative in your head when you're thinking about your past or where you're at right now. So we might as well just use stolen valor as something, an example.
Yeah, it's a good example.
So stolen valor is when somebody either wasn't in the military and claims that they were, or somebody who was in the military and says they did things that they didn't do, received medals or awards, and you receive some sort of benefit or acknowledgement because of those stories that you're telling. And I think instead of, it's easy for everybody to be angry and be like, how dare you portray something that you're not?
Yeah.
But immediately, and I used to do that, like, how dare you? I got brothers that
That's
died. And
still where I go in, like,
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah, it's an immediate.
Right? But
yeah.
then it's like, okay, let's think about this.
Yeah, let's look at why. Why would somebody do that? And it's because they're ashamed. They're ashamed of who or what, or they want to look better, or so if we're gonna continue with the shame thing, so help guide me. So
I want to just preface something real quick. It's probably not a guarantee that it's shame, but it's a very, very good.
I'd say for people that were in the military
Mhm.
and want to embellish their story, that's some
It's
sort of shame.
very likely shame.
Yeah.
I would argue against anything else.
Yeah, because I felt that urge.
Mhm.
I think that my service wasn't good enough.
I was Air Force.
Yeah.
Of course, I thought that urge.
Or like I was just National Guard. I didn't deploy. That's a huge one.
That one drives me nuts.
I feel it.
We have a lot of vets within WNA that have served in the Guard but never deployed. There's a lot of them. There's a couple ambassadors like that, right?
Yeah.
And I tell them all the time, do not be ashamed of your service. Like, you served, you signed that dotted line, and we all know. Oh, my bad. We all know that you could have deployed any time.
Yeah.
You could have gone anywhere.
It's not like you were dodging it.
Exactly.
Unless
right.
you were, but who cares?
And it's like, oh no, I have a spinal injury 3 days before deployment, and then it happens 3 other times.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have the other end of the spectrum too. Like I was in the National Guard and I was begging for a deployment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's one of the reasons.
And then on top of that too, like there's usually some survivor's guilt thrown in there. Usually, not always. Just because, when I got out, I had a lot of survivor's guilt, right? We had Fox 57 get shot down in Afghanistan. It was our Kiowa Overwatch. And I didn't know these guys personally.
Yeah.
But I talked to them on the radio every night.
Yep.
Like every night they'd fly over us and dump water bottles and shit on us. They were dicks, but it was also very funny. And they'd shoot pen flares at us every once in a while. Like, they were goofy dudes.
Yeah.
There was one night, I don't think I was there, but they came and ate dinner with a bunch of us.
Mhm.
I don't remember it. I don't think I was there, to be honest, but I've never seen them face to face.
Yeah.
But I felt like they were like my brothers, right? Because
they are.
And they're the ones who actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Luckenbill, Don Luckenbill. If you're listening, you'll know. We were doing a foot mounted patrol. I was a 50 cal gunner, so I stayed in my truck. I'm not trying to get out.
Yeah.
And so we were walking down a village, and I believe it was Fox 57 that found it for us. They found an IED. We ended up finding it was like 25 pounds of HME underneath a culvert, and Don would have died.
Mhm.
And I think that's how it went. Because you remember how sometimes, like, no matter what, we have terrible memories.
Yep.
I don't care who you are.
Even if it's vivid, you can't be sure that that's exactly what went down.
Yeah. So Rob Williams over at MBR says, "Isn't it amazing? Someone you've not met has earned the title of brother." Absolutely. And so that's why whenever I hear veterans or military people like, "Oh, you didn't even know him. How are you that affected?" Be like, well, that's not the way it works.
We're bodies in the same uniform. It could have easily have been me.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why it affects us so much, is we put ourselves in their shoes. Like, oh my God, what if that was me?
Yeah. And that's like, not to get too far off topic, but that's the whole thing of the, that it just comes with the territory. We have to be that way. to care about each other, to do that kind of thing.
Well, it's life and death. You
Yeah.
know, in real life, not a lot of things are life and death these days. It's a fairly, you know, Rob said nods aggressively. It's a very life and death situation in Iraq and Afghanistan. These days, we are living in the safest times ever. I don't care what anybody says, right? We're
Yeah.
not running from dinosaurs and shit.
Yep.
You know, we're not running from lions and saber-toothed tigers. We're literally like
Quality
we're
of life is
petting
so
them and they're
good.
sitting in our laps.
Yeah.
You know. But like our quality of life is immensely better than it was back in like even like the 1900s.
Yep.
You know, the early 1900s. And I think part of the reason why we have such anxiety when we get back is because, you know, our heightened sense of awareness, our fight or flight is triggered every single day. And, you know, it's really hard to go from that every day for 6 months to a year to go home and just be like, okay, I'm good. No, like everything's life or death. And then you go back to when you get back, this is where the survivor's guilt kicks in. You know, you get back and you're just like, oh my God, that should have been me.
Yeah.
Or like, I wish it would have been me. And it's not.
Or I'm sitting here in this peaceful environment, and I know that dudes are still over there.
And you feel shame.
Yep.
You feel ashamed.
Or the people who never went.
Yeah. You know, I did a podcast. I want every one of you guys to check this out. If you're interested in this topic, go back to episode 2 or 3 of Warriors Next Adventure podcast over on Spotify. It's a wonderful podcast ran by a really good host. Anyway, so me and Joe Brandon did one on that. Joe was the guy who traveled with me for the first portion of the tour. He gave some really good perspectives. Just chat with him the other day. He gave some really good perspectives from a National Guard soldier who never deployed, but he had friends that did.
Yeah.
And he's fucked up from it.
Yep.
Right. You got to think that survivor's guilt does not necessarily have to be me and you at war together. You die, I don't. That's not always the way it works.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get out of the military not actually ever deploying, and you have survivor's guilt because you wish you would have done more.
I had it from working at the prison. When I was up at the RRTP, I saw like the news saying that, you know, the guards
one
are
of the guys one of the guy at Oak Park Heights, right?
Yeah, in Stillwater. And I actually know the guy personally, and I saw his face all lumped up, and that's like the 3rd time he's been assaulted. And I'm like, this is the nicest guy in the world. Yeah. And I just felt like, you know, that's not my fight anymore.
Yeah.
But I want to again now. And then I had to sit with that and explore that and realize that that's, you know, those types of things are still going on in the world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be my fight. So I don't have to put that on myself.
It's kind of like what we were talking about on WNA podcast the other day. You know, when me and Paul were talking about bouncing together.
Yep.
It's not a good environment. Like we put ourselves in that to try to emulate some sort of like adrenaline or like fight or flight. We're looking for that again, where we're looking for in the wrong places, you know, like when it comes to like, again, I've talked about this before. So if you want to listen to some other stuff, go back.
Rinse and repeat, man.
Yeah, I know. Right. But it's like, you know, even like during the cocaine days when I was bouncing at the club, dude, it was wild. The shit that we would get into. And it's like,
it comes with the territory.
Well, yeah. And then you want it to continue to happen. You don't, but you do.
Yeah.
And it's like, you will never stop that cycle unless you pull yourself out and change your environment.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's why, like, I often tell people who are struggling while still in the military, dude, get out.
No.
Well, here, let me listen here. Some of the specific, not everybody, some specific people, when I can hear the way they're talking, get out.
You have
you know, not because I think you can't handle it, because your mental health needs a massive shift.
Yep.
And if you're in the military, listen to this. I'm not saying get out right now, right? I'm saying like you need to think about your situation, think about your environment, and if you're in a point where you quite literally have anxiety attacks just thinking about some of the things that you have to do, it's time to change your environment, right? Or career field change. You know, it's possible. Not easy, but it's possible. How hard is it to change career fields in the Army?
I don't know. I've known a lot of people who've done it. It really depends.
Yeah. I know Air Force, you have to be in for like 3 years. I just talked to the recruiter the other day. You got to be in your career field for 3 years. And I believe I believe you can't have any like triple nickels or anything.
Yeah.
I
I think like in the Army, you have to like re-enlist for it.
Yeah, it's like Rob said, it's a little bit of paperwork. I think you have to do it at the end of your 3rd year, so you're essentially locked in for another year. Because in the Air Force, you can sign up for 4 years
Yeah.
or 6. So essentially, I think it locks you in for like another 4 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So they do it tactfully, so you can't get out.
Yeah.
But you got to go back
You're
to
gonna get all
tech
this
school.
training and then get out and
Yeah, I know,
use all
right?
this stuff in the civilian world.
Exactly.
No.
Well, and then you got to go to tech school again. You don't have to go to basic again in the Air
Yeah.
Force. Obviously, you just
Reclass.
transition into reclass. We call it cross train.
Okay. Same thing.
So we cross train over into like whatever other job. You got to go through tech school, which sucks because you're going through with a bunch of 12-year-olds. I guess I said when you re-enlist in the Army, you can change your MOS. Okay,
Cool.
interesting.
I said that.
Any Marines or Navy listening,
There's
let
a
us
lot.
know how you can change your career field. It's interesting because it's weird how different the services are.
Yeah.
You know, like they're similar. Like I had a Navy guy talking to me the other day. I'm like, I don't know anything you're saying.
Yeah, it's all words that
Yeah.
don't make any sense to
Like
me.
lieutenant, but he's got captain bars on him. Like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Why would
whoa.
you even do that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Come on, Navy, get it together. Even though I'm pretty sure they were around first, but whatever. They should adapt for us, like
Mhm.
America and the metric system. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
Let's go back.
yeah,
I don't remember.
we went down a
Yeah, we
weird
went.
rabbit hole.
gonna
So
happen.
shame, right? We're going back to the whole shame thing, right? If you feel the need to embellish on your story, you need help. Not saying you're crazy, not saying you have mental health issues, but I am saying there's something there. If you're getting to that point where you have to, I don't want to say lie, but we'll use embellish. If you want to embellish on your story, then we all spice it up a little bit when we talk.
Good place though. Sometimes like
Sometimes, maybe.
not a good place, but
I'm trying to do this tactfully without
yeah.
like saying people who
I'm trying
embellish
to-
are
yeah.
a-holes, because there's
I can use myself as an example. So
we've all let's just say this, we've all embellished to a certain extent. Everybody.
yeah, everybody does. 'cause
There's nobody
it's
that hasn't.
dramatic, and
Mhm.
it has to reinforce your story.
Yeah.
So authenticity
Yeah.
as a way to
I feel like as a way to free you from shame.
yeah, and that's something that I was thinking about this morning is how I know going forward that I want to help people.
Mhm.
And specifically vets, and specifically people that are in similar situations as me that have a lot of shame or have done a lot of things that they regret, or
Like the Millimeter Peter Club.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get over that. You
Mhm.
gotta.
No, I
Anyway.
get what you're saying, and like I keep telling you, like I see that in you. I see that you want to, but I already see the future and what it's going to
Well,
look
so
like.
I
and it's
had
great.
an issue that I was like, okay, so I recognize that I have this shame
Mhm.
about the person that I was not matching the person that I want to be. And so then I start working with you, I start doing WNA stuff, and I talk to other vets and I give really good advice and stuff. And I'm sitting there like, am I doing this just because I want to make up for it? And I had somebody say, so what if you are?
Yeah, no, absolutely, dude. If you are, who cares?
But that made
Is
me
it-
feel like I wasn't being authentic.
Sure. I see where you're coming from, but at the same time, think about it like this. I was telling people I was an author a year ago.
Yeah, true.
I didn't say I released books, but I said I'm an author because I want to write a book, right? I was telling people years ago that we take veterans mountain climbing. We hadn't done it yet.
Yeah.
But now we've taken about 75 veterans mountain climbing, right?
Yeah.
Manifestation is quite literally embellishing what your
that's not
future is going to
something
be.
that I've been good at practicing
Mhm.
because I can talk a game. I can say all the things that I'm going to do, and I'll believe it.
Mhm.
But the follow through hasn't been there, and it's because I have
We
that
gotta
shame.
go to the gun range, man. Teach them to pull the trigger a little bit.
Pull the trigger.
Well, in the shame that comes with the past is it's hard to get over. Like I've done a lot of things in my past that I am not ashamed of, but not proud of for sure. Like I was, I had some issues when I first got out, and when me and my first wife were going through a divorce, I thought it would be smart to go try to bang all of her friends. Didn't help.
No.
Fun at the time, yeah, but then it just added more shame,
Yeah.
right? More and more shame. Like now
That's like a
I'm
path
a
of
jerk.
destruction,
Dude,
bro.
I
Like,
was in
imagine the
full
secondary
self-destruct. Yeah. I was in
issues that
full
cause.
self-destruct mode at the time though. So
Oof.
and then after that, I went to working at as a bouncer so I could fight people. I got into cocaine. I started, cheating on my wife because we ended up getting back together because we had our second kid together. And I just continued to destroy my life and eventually led to me trying to kill myself because I said, screw it, I've already done enough. But I did it all to myself.
Yeah.
And so the time where I started to actually improve my life was when I started to take accountability, but not the shame.
Mhm.
Because you can take in accountability and be fully accountable for yourself without adding the shame onto it.
Yeah.
Right. The problem is there's a lot of people that like we were talking about with you feel like you're lying.
If I'm not actively doing the opposite
Mhm.
of the things that I've done, I feel like I'm still doing those things.
Well, I don't know if the quote's still over there, but one of my favorite quotes is, live as if the future is today.
Yep.
And that's all about manifestation, right? When I talk about the mental health retreat all the time,
Yeah, I know.
and I always have to tell them, well, we got to build it
Well,
first.
but that when you do that kind of stuff, we can see that that's going to happen. Like that's I believe it too.
Yeah, but you believe it because I've shown you that I do things,
Yeah.
right? Now you need to start believing in yourself.
No, I do.
You know,
Especially when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Like just having conversations with people, it's like I can completely separate myself from the things that I do still kind of have shame for.
Well, do you mind if I tell everybody something personal you told me the other day?
Sure.
So Josh is now Justina. No, I'm kidding. No, you were telling me.
Wait. It depends. No, don't.
No, don't. It's a good thing.
Okay.
You said you were talking to somebody the other day, and they said that they saw your face start to light up.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool.
And I see that when you're not adding the shame.
Yeah.
When you add the shame, I can see like you're hurting.
Yeah.
But when you don't have that shame on you, you glow, dude.
Yeah.
And sorry to make this personal to everybody, but like
Oof.
you got to understand something about yourself. Like you have so much potential. And I know you see it when you don't have the shame attached to it. Right. I didn't want to make this episode about you, but like it's just something that I've observed. And like when I see you shining, dude, like you're smiling and you don't look upset.
Yeah.
When you're throwing that shame all over yourself, it's just dragging you down, man. It sucks. Being your friend, it sucks watching that shit.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people that watch me go through that for years before I finally turned it around,
So let's talk about how because once you shed like what was that comment that said you it's kind of like you shed the light on it and then you
so Jason
awareness really
yeah, pretty much.
Once who the do stolen valor, they're aware.
Mm-hmm.
They know. Like, okay, that's what I was gonna say as far as military service goes. I've had the thought where I'm like, I'm not as good as these other people, so I feel like I should make up for it. But
I think a lot of it has to do with comparing your story to somebody else.
Exactly. That's all it is.
Stop it.
Yep.
Not you, everybody. Stop
everybody,
it.
Yeah.
Stop comparing your story. There's certain times where comparing is useful, but at the same time, everybody's worst trauma has been their worst trauma.
Exactly.
Right. Just because it's like that was you in like elementary school,
Yeah.
Some people were raped when they were children.
Yeah.
That's really fucked up, and that's going to be one of their worst traumas the rest of their life. Some people, they stubbed their toe on a door once.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it, and you got to understand that's their worst trauma. Right. There's certain times where, yes, you need to tell people like, okay, it's time to suck it up. It's time to actually take that next step.
Like us, like especially somebody that that like can't handle it. Like,
oh yeah,
you meet them there,
yeah,
and then you're like, okay, I feel that just like you do. Now let's fucking go.
Well, there's a lot of people. No, it's okay. I try not to swear, and I'm told not to swear. I think I got a swear jar with KGRA. So.
I'm looking.
Which, by the way, thank you for KGRA for giving us this slot. If you guys didn't know, KGRA actually gives us this slot for free. Yeah, we're registered as a public service show. And this show is actually free to listen to on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. So if you go to KGRA Digital Broadcasting, you can listen to this show for free. There's also a couple other shows on there as well. There's a law enforcement show. I'm so sorry, guys. I forgot what it's called. But if you go to KGRA, you can look through. It's the show right before me and right after me. One of them is a detective show. He was a detective in Chicago. I believe.
That'd be interesting.
Dude, yeah. I actually thought about having him on the podcast just to talk about trauma
That would be
and law
really cool.
enforcement.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to happen. But
Here's how to take a look at my notes real quick.
search warrant is before and I Detective is after. Thank you, Chanel.
Nice.
Yeah, but those shows, I've listened to search warrant a few times. Those guys are actually pretty intense.
They just like tell stories about things that they like.
That's a lot of it, and then they have other cops on and interview them.
Okay.
It's interesting stuff, man.
It is.
You know, and I love digging into other people's lives, and I think that's why Warriors Next Adventure like literally like does it for me.
Mhm.
Is I love stories.
Me
I love
too.
telling people stories, and I like getting people to realize that they are quite literally like they're writing their story.
I was just gonna say,
Like-
isn't that the best feeling when you let them know and you can see the aha moment, like,
Mm.
oh, I've been telling this story, I've been writing this, and I have the choice of what I write next.
Mhm.
And how do you write it?
Yeah, and that's the beauty is like it can be anything you want.
Yeah.
Right, like you said the other day. What was your post the other day? You said something along the lines of like, if you believe it, it can be true, or something. What did you say?
You said
Man.
in the breathing thing, if you believe it, it'll work.
Yeah.
And I said, what did I say?
Anyway, you said something about like, you know, if you believe it, it can come true.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was like, I tried to fly off and I fell off my. I think I said I tried to fly and I fell off my roof or something like that. Okay, it's got to be
It
logical.
was like the biology of belief with Dr. Joe Dispenza or whatever.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I get that idea from. But
I'm just saying, there's always that literal person that's got to come in and ruin it. It's
that's
like,
a
come on.
danger. Like when you don't have something that you do believe in, and then you find out that, you know, the power of belief or whatever,
Mhm.
you can go down that rabbit hole and think crazy shit. Like I can jump off that bridge. I've been there, not that
Yeah.
exactly, but stuff similar.
Yeah, and I think you said something along the lines of like physics need to be added into it or something along those lines. Human natural law.
Natural
or
law.
something. So yeah, don't try to jump off a cliff or a bridge because you think you can fly, unless you have like a parachute or something.
But that's the thing, because then you have a parachute. But like, that's where
is
your
it
brain needs.
technically flying?
Yes,
I think
is.
we're going
Or
off
if
into a
you-
rabbit hole again.
Okay, here we go. But, like, real quick. Like if you think you can fly, right? Like you
Yeah.
have that legitimate desire to fly.
Yeah.
You can't just do it with your thing,
Yeah.
with your body.
Yeah, you can go
You
fly in a
design
plane.
a
and
helicopter, or you design a
Yeah.
airplane or a glider, and that's how you fly.
There's specific tools to. I swear I'm not tired. There's specific tools out there to help us achieve our goals.
Exactly.
And that's why I tell everybody that do not tell me that something's impossible.
Nope, nothing is.
There's a way to do it. It might not be in the exact way that you said it, but there is a way. I'm going to make a way and show you, you know. And so I think part of the reason why WNA really kicked off the way it did is people told me I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
People literally, like Paul said the other day, right? And I'm not angry at Paul for saying this. I'm just trying to help other people understand. I get it. I had a lot of ideas, man. I was the idea guy. Oh, I'm gonna do
Mhm.
this and I'm gonna get rich.
Me
I'm gonna do
too.
this and I'm gonna get rich.
Me too.
And nothing ever worked because it was the wrong reason.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm like, you know what?
It was a mask to you want to do these things because you believe it's going to make you feel better about you.
Well, mainly it was all about money.
Exactly. me too.
Everything was about money.
If I have all this money, then all my problems will go away.
Exactly. You said a post not too long ago that was actually right along those lines. Like, you know, I would kept telling myself that when this happens, I'm going to be better.
Yeah.
When this happens, I'll feel better. When this happens, I'll feel better. It does not work like that.
No,
right?
you got to be better now.
The thing is, like, a lot of that has to do with dopamine. There's dopamine releases, right? So people think that you get your dopamine release when you check that item off the list.
Yeah.
It's actually during
The process
The
of
completion.
becoming the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I wrote a quote in the boat. It's like, you know, it's, you know, don't concern
boat.
yourself. Quote in a boat. I hate you. Don't concern yourself with, man, I'm gonna ruin this quote just because I'm still all hopped up.
Yeah.
You know, don't concern yourself with the pursuit of happiness, but with the happiness of the pursuit.
Ooh.
As you really have to focus on, you know, the journey. You know, focus on
If you-
what are
yeah.
you
If
experiencing.
you've ever gotten to that prize at the end of the road that you really wanted, I've done that before, and it was the journey. And you look back and you're just like, every step of the way wasn't necessarily easy,
Mhm.
but it fell into place. And then I provided the effort that was necessary to go to the next step.
You know, and I posted on WNA not too long ago. I just got done rowing the St. Croix River.
Mhm.
We rode the entire river. Every time I do a big accomplishment, I have like a boom, just a deep
Yeah.
valley, right?
Now what, man?
Yeah, the now what? And it's because, you know, we were looking to be like, yeah, we're gonna complete this, we're gonna complete this. But
Mhm.
it's like, now while I was out there, I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
I stopped and I was present the whole time.
Yeah.
But when I finished, everything went like, oh, not in that way.
That's exactly what it is, dude.
It was like when I finished, I was just like, oh.
I can't. I'm sorry.
When I finished, I was just like, man, like,
All
what
right.
next? I remember Will, my board member, he's the one rowing the ocean with me. He like sat there and I just kind of leaned back and I put my paddle on my lap and I leaned back and I put my hand back. He slapped my hand. I was like, you want to keep going? Take the river all the way down to Gulf of Mexico?
Oh, damn.
Because the St. Croix runs into Prescott, which is where it meets up with the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
So I was just like, there's so much more. Like
There's
I saw the
always
river.
more.
Dude, I saw that river and I kept looking. I was like, there's so much more.
Oh, there's a quote
so
there.
much more.
Oh, that's my own quote. That's dumb.
Oh, don't say that about yourself, Joshua.
What is it? Something about
man,
anything can happen.
Suck.
Anything can happen. And you know, if that doesn't make you smile, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. And that's all about manifestation. That's why I talk about manifestation so much, you know, and I keep going back to, yeah, it's hope, right? Logotherapy is essentially what Warriors Next Adventure is all about. You know, Dr. Viktor Frankl wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. I want every one of you to write that down. Man's Search for Meaning.
It's dark.
It is a very dark look into the sadness of the Holocaust. However, there's a lot of beauty in it. And it's exactly what I always talk about. Find the beauty in the darkness, right? Find that one flower shining because a little bit of light, and that can make everything better. You know, because it's totally possible. When I was at my darkest moment, you know, I remember, God, I listened to something from Jordan Peterson today. I'm sorry, this is kind of like it's kind of a tangent, but I was listening to something from Jordan Peterson today, and it really made me think about my suicide attempt. And I know it sounds weird, but it's like essentially life is about life and death, you know, endings and beginnings.
You don't have to tell me.
Every single thing that you go through is going to end, and it opens doors for new beginnings. So essentially we have to kill our old self.
Yeah.
And we need to rebirth ourselves.
Yep.
And so I was just like,
Phoenix.
wow, that brought me right back to 2015. Sorry, give me a second. When I pulled that trigger on myself, I was absolutely in my darkest, worst fucking time I've ever been in. No, I'm not trying to make glory of suicide, trust me. But when I pulled that trigger, I remember just everything was gone. Everything. I still to this day sometimes think like, am I really dead?
Yeah.
You know, just because of how real it was.
Yeah.
Everything just went white. My eyes were closed. So, and it was almost like a shell shock from like a movie or something like that, where boo, like everything just comes back in.
Just do a flashbang.
Dude, it was weird. And like, there was no sound. And then there was just ringing and everything was white. And then I opened up my eyes and it was the most beautiful, vivid blue and green colors. Like I was sitting, for a lot of you that know, I was out in the middle of the woods in the Boundary Waters in northern Minnesota. My thinking was the wolves and bears would eat me, so nobody would have to find me, you know, because I was thinking about it afterwards, you know, because I'm a nice guy. And, you know, I was sitting on an island in the middle of a lake, and it just was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And that was my rebirth, you know.
Yeah.
I read my article the other day on the 6 principles. If you go to warriorsnextadventure.com, go to the blog, you look up the 6 principles. There's a picture at the end of that, and it's me kayaking. And it was me kayaking out to that island. I don't know if I ever told you that.
No.
But that was literally minutes before I tried to kill myself.
Yeah.
That was the last picture of my old life. I killed myself and I recreated myself. You know, and it doesn't have to be that drastic, people.
We're very dramatic.
Yeah. It does not have to be that drastic, guys. It can be anything from, you know,
it's just a perspective shift, really.
Yeah.
That's a death of your old self is a perspective shift.
Yeah.
However slight.
I thought it killed my ego, but then I kept MMA
Yeah,
cage
no,
fighting, and
no.
no, you gotta have a big
You
ego to be
can't
a
kill
cage
your
fighter.
ego. You can't.
Um,
There's no such thing as ego death.
no, because I think to a certain extent there's ego taming,
Yeah.
but not death.
Like
Because
I do it every day. Every
Yeah.
time you say something good about me, I neither dismiss or accept. I'm like, we'll see.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, I love that story. But yeah, like we can all rebirth ourselves. We can all start anew.
You have to.
I don't care what anyone's been through. I don't care what anyone has done to you. You can create a new version of yourself. I think it's every 2 years, every atom in our body is different.
Yeah.
Or brand new. We literally die every 2 years.
Yeah.
You know,
There's some period of time, whatever it is, where every cell has replicated.
If there's a biologist in here, go ahead and correct me.
Yeah, tell me.
But you think about it like this. No matter what we experience, we can always turn it around. So going back to the whole stolen valor thing, and shame that's mixed in with a lot of that. The way I see it, no matter what you've been through, no matter what you've said, what you've done, it can absolutely be either maybe not fixed, but it can be reborn in some different way.
Yeah.
Maybe not
From its
necessarily
ashes.
Yeah. You know, and so we think about it like this, like when you take a bunch of papers, right? My girlfriend burnt up some old divorce papers that she found in the fire. This, I think, was last year. And she went to throw it away, and you could tell there was a little bit of pain there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, well, think about it like this. You know, that was the old you. This is the last remains of that, other than her kid. But, you know, when it comes to like the legal documents and everything, that's her way of kind of letting that go, you know. And sometimes we have to learn how to let go.
Oh, don't I know?
It's hard, man.
It is.
You know, and that comes with rage and anger too.
I know.
And that's one of my big issues is I'm pretty even keeled.
Until you're not.
Yeah. You've driven in a car with me. Like,
yeah, but that's not bad.
I have the worst road rage for about 4 seconds. And then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like, you've witnessed that multiple times. When people cut me off, I'm like, you son of a bitch. And then within seconds, I'm just like, so guys, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And that's actually how I process it. I'm not just putting it aside. I tell people all the time. Yeah, feel it, react to it real quick, and then take a step back and establish whether or not it needs to stay, right? So I'm gonna see how much time we got left. Do you remember that day we were talking about the trauma shelf?
Yeah.
Like when I had like tears coming into my eyes when I was explaining to you, because I never verbally explained it to somebody.
Yeah.
I had tears in my eyes because it made sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, my concept actually makes sense. I was writing about it last night. I was up to like 2 a.m. Writing my book.
I saw that because I was up too.
And I was sitting here thinking about it, like the trauma shelf, right? Real quick. Imagine a shelf with 3 levels. You got the top level, which is your trauma shelf. You get your mid level, which is your accomplishment shelf, and you get your bottom level, which is your relationship shelf. Everyone's going to have certain boxes that are going to stay on that shelf the rest of your life, right? Traumas are not going away.
Nope.
Bad experiences will not disappear. The only thing we can do is reframe, right? One of the ways we reframe is, you know, Tony Robbins always talks about, you know, certain things affect us in certain ways because of the meaning that we assign to it. And I write about the meaning of Michael continuing to come back to me after watching him kill himself in 2010. I changed the meaning, you know, and it was after that female vet who called 911 when I was a dispatcher. And I found out she was a vet, talked her down, and dude, when she got down, I broke myself. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe how close that was. And it was later on that night, I went downstairs, like typical me in 2017. I'd go sit down in my boat in my garage and break out my bottle.
Yep.
And before I took my first sip, I swear. Now, I probably had psychosis, to be honest, but I swear I saw him in the corner. But he was whole.
Wow.
Usually when I see him, he's, you know, but he was whole. And I think that was, I think that was the first time that I realized, like, I need to do something else. Like, this is what I need to do, man. And then it wasn't right away where I realized I wanted to help veterans, but it evolved into that. And I continued to change the meaning. Like, maybe I'm on the right path. I still don't know what this path looks like.
Yeah.
But I know it's the right one. You know, you're going to have certain signs in life. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you believe, whether you believe in God or not. You're going to see certain signs that are going to let you know that you are on the right path. Sometimes it's going to be a person. Sometimes it's going to be,
Synchronicity.
yeah, you could manifest it into a butterfly that lands on your shoulder or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Take those things and use them as fuel, because
Signs. This is a thing that I read in one of my weird books that I read.
which one?
I think it's the.
What are you reading right now?
I don't want to do it. No.
Oh, okay.
It's weird. But signs follow; they never precede. So once you make a change, then you will see the signs.
You know, and 1 second here. Okay. So again, I'm just going to say this right now. I am not trying to get you to be a Buddhist. Okay. I am not a Buddhist. I like meat and I swear too much. However, if you really want to take something and just take it in and listen to it and think about it, this book right here, Buddhism Plain and Simple. I've read this probably 15 times. I just read it last week. Well, I should say listen to it on audiobook.
Yeah, no, right? We can read.
But if you look in here, like I have highlights everywhere.
Yeah.
The reason why I have all these highlights is because it's certain things that maybe didn't make exact sense to me at the time, but for some reason, I had to write it down.
Yep.
And I go back, like you just said, I find the meaning in that.
Yep.
You know, it's like, what is this? You know, this means something. I don't know what. Just file it aside, you know, and maybe figure out what it is later. And this book has helped me so much with mainly awareness, but also acceptance. And when you bring on shame and you start talking about accountability, a lot of that has to do with acceptance. You need to accept the fact that if you were in the military and didn't deploy, you were still in the military, right? You don't have to brag. You don't have to embellish your story. Just be happy with the fact that you decided to serve your country. If you didn't deploy, you didn't deploy.
Well, like me, I got kicked out. Everybody knows, and I'll never not say that because I want everybody to know that I know. You know, I'm not trying to make. I
also think there might be a little shame.
There's a little bit of shame, but you asked me earlier if I'm proud. I'm proud.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. You know, like it's okay to still have that thought. Like, I wish I wasn't kicked out, but I love hearing you say like you're proud of your service because you did a lot, man. You know, especially
my thing is it wasn't. I always wanted to make it about the service or the country or the deployment or whatever, but it was about everybody else around me, man. And it's always been that for me.
I was having that conversation the other day. Like, why did you deploy? Oh, because my brothers were there. I had to make sure they were okay. I was a 50 cal gunner. Like, my job was to protect my people. That's it. I don't care why we were there. I don't care about the politics. I don't care if it was just for oil or marijuana or opiates that caused the opiate crisis. But anyway,
gun sales, contracts,
you know, and I don't care. I went there for my buddies. Now if you ask me if I would go deploy right now, hell no. I would not put my life at risk for a bunch of rich folks.
Yeah, I'll never put myself in a position for my friends to die or for me to take a life for something that I don't believe in.
Yeah. Now, do you support the military? Like the people in the military?
Yeah.
100%.
And if they have to go fight, they have to go fight. That's their
and I will back them up 100%.
Yep.
You know, I just personally,
not for me.
You know,
not my fight.
It's not like we're done, man.
I am done.
We have a different
fight
now.
Again.
Well, we had a different fight.
Yeah.
This one's just a little bit more
the jihad. The internal struggle.
Yeah, and the thing is now, like, you're slowly starting to adopt. I mean, I wouldn't even have to say you're slowly. I think you have adopted, you know, the mission of Warrior's Next Adventure. You know, I see it in you. And the reason why I put so much on you is because I trust you and I see it in you. And you're going to see it more and more in yourself. I know you've seen it in yourself a lot, but I also think that, you know, I'm 100% authentic, right? You wanted to talk about authenticity. And you've heard me talk to veterans. You've heard me in many different like sticky situations. And I'm always 100% authentic. I never lie. I never make shit up. I never do anything that would be considered embellishing. Maybe I can't say that for sure.
You get excited.
Yeah, maybe I get excited. Now I do consider myself a comedian too. So when it comes to making people laugh, I'll say the weirdest shit just to make people laugh. Right. I don't care. Right.
That's different.
Dude, I've been called out a couple of times like, well, you said this. Like, yeah, I was making people laugh. I was joking.
Joke. Yeah.
You know, there's a difference, right? Yeah. If I'm saying something for comedic offense or effect, I'll say pretty much anything.
That was a Freudian slip.
Yeah, but you know, that's also true sometimes.
I know.
Oh, well, the thing is too, is like I never say anything with the objective to offend people. I always do it with the objective to make this group of people laugh. If it makes this group of people unhappy, I mean, I'm sorry you felt that way, but that's not my intent. So if you feel like that, that's a you problem, not a my problem.
That's called a trigger. Explore that.
Yeah, exactly. And that, I think what we were talking about on WNA podcast the other day is like explore things a little bit more before you start throwing
Explore
people.
everything, huh?
Yeah, explore everything. Oh, weird. It says it on my sleeve. But no, just explore those things. And I think the more and more people explore an idea, explore a situation, kind of like what was thrown at us the other day or today.
Yeah.
Instead of being angry and acting on that, which is half the reason why my post on Facebook is take a step back, think about everything, right? Don't just think about how it affected you.
Yep.
Pull yourself out, step aside, and look at the situations. If it was two other people going through the same problem, how would I talk to them?
Yeah.
And that's how essentially I talk to myself.
Everybody to integrate the most important parts of the situation to make themselves better.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's totally possible. It's just hard though.
Yeah.
It's really hard. You know, all the things that we talk about, all these concepts, they're hard.
They're heavy.
It's not easy. It's a lot of work, man. And there's been times where I called you after having some stressful shit, and I didn't even tell you why I was calling you, but I just wanted to chat with you because I knew we're pretty much there, you know.
Yeah.
So it just makes it a little bit easier. Thanks, Rick. It's just I think about it like this. If you don't put yourself in those uncomfortable positions, you will not heal, right?
Or grow or anything.
Yeah, everything. Growth. You know, how do you get bigger muscles? You put yourself through pain. You lift weights. You essentially are tearing your muscle fibers to make them stronger. You know, think about that when you're working out. You're tearing yourself apart to make yourself stronger.
I'm about to be real strong.
Me too, man. Are you gonna go lift?
Huh?
You gonna go lift?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. I was actually gonna go to Lowe's. I got a deadlift today. Ugh, it's the
Fun.
worst. Which actually, by the way, pretty cool. Real quick here, we only got like 2 minutes. I think I told you, but Care 11 News is coming to do a story on me for Fight or Die and Warriors Next Adventure. Yeah. That's pretty sweet, man.
That's really sweet.
So they're coming out to Los Compaños is a bodybuilding gym that I go to. My girlfriend goes there, and she's been beating my butt on the mats or on the cardio side.
Oh, fun.
Dude, I was almost in tears the other day through her workout. I was like, I hate you.
I hate cardio.
You know, I can deadlift like 435. I can bench press 225. Yep. I can squat 315. I got bad knees. I can lift heavy, right? Yeah. No big deal. I'm strong. But my cardio is awful. You know, like rowing, you don't need a lot of crazy cardio to row. It's just, just leaning back. That's it. Not bad. Right. So Care 11's coming there to do some filming on us, and then they were going to come to Trax BJJ and do some jiu-jitsu stuff, but that's not going to work out. But then July 5th, they're going to record us out on Lake Superior rowing. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
get some good shots.
And also, they're going to be coming viewing some Veterans Action Report, which is pretty sweet. Which actually June 29th, we're actually going to have Team Emotive. They're a veteran group from the UK. They're going to be out there rowing the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge with us. So go check out the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge. It's an awesome race. We're going to be doing it in December. Go check out Fight or Die. That's the organization I'm rowing for. Go check out Rising Warrior.
Definitely.
Get yourself some Warriors Next Adventure Salted Caramel. It's really good with some French vanilla. I love it. I actually just I got to send those boxes later. Also go check out warriorsnextadventure.com. You can go support Warriors Next Adventure and all the things we do helping veterans with PTSD and suicide prevention. The race team is super expensive, so go ahead and throw some change. We need new tires. And then also go check out Houses for Warriors over in Colorado, doing amazing things for veterans out there. He's working on a bunch of different stuff when it comes to like education levels as well. So helping with homelessness, those guys are awesome. Go check them out. Thank you guys. And I appreciate KGRA Digital Broadcasting for giving us this time slot. So we'll see you guys next week.
Perfect.